Hello, I am Markei Miha, working for the Slovenian tourism organization. It's a public agency underneath the Ministry of Economic Development of the Republic of Slovenia.
How many campsites there are in Slovenia now?
So nowadays there are more than 100 campsites in the whole of Slovenia.
Tell us more about the history of camping tourism in Slovenia, from the time of Yugoslavia and after that.
Well, Slovenia has a really quite extensive history of campsites. Like you mentioned, dating back to Yugoslavia, we already had a lot of foreign visitors and a lot of campsites, especially in the Alpine area and also at our seaside. And after Yugoslavia, so with Slovenian independence, the camping tourism grew and grew. In the last 10 years, it has grown a lot, more than 50% of the figures that we had at the time of Yugoslavia. And the campsites diverged a little bit. Now you can find them not just in the northern or the southern part of Slovenia, but also in the eastern part, especially where the thermal spas are, so near to the border with Croatia and Hungary.
Slovenia is present at almost every fair related to camping tourism in Europe. Is that the strategy of your agency to advertise the country?
Yes, our public agency for tourism is very much involved in presenting Slovenian campsites in the whole broad of presenting Slovenia outdoor activities. Of course, campsites in this regard are a necessity because they provide overnight staying possibilities for that type of tourists that visit Slovenia. We also are present, like you mentioned, especially Austria, Germany, so this will be our biggest markets, and we try to be presentable here as much as possible.
You already mentioned that Germany and Austria are the biggest markets for Slovenia. But what about Eastern European countries? Are there citizens coming to Slovenia?
In the last, let's say, 5 years, we see a steady increase of the guests coming from Eastern European countries, especially, for example, Poland, the Czech Republic, and Hungary. They are increasing in numbers every year, year on year. They are a little bit more specific because usually they go in the Alpine area or to the seaside. Not so much to the eastern part of Slovenia, so in the thermal spa centers, but the main focus is for them, so the Alpine area around Bled, Bohinj or the Soča River Valley, or near the Slovenian coast, so Koper, Portorož, Piran.
Is Slovenia a final destination for camping tourists, or it's mainly transit destination?
For most of the visitors, Slovenia will be the final destination, especially the visitors that come from the area of the northern Germany or also the Benelux countries, especially the Netherlands. People from the Netherlands really like Slovenia because it's very diverse. So if they come to Slovenia, they will usually spend their time in more camping sites, a little bit on the seaside, a little bit on the Alpine area, and a little bit near the thermal spa areas. But we see for the so eastern markets, so people coming from Eastern Europe, Slovenia usually is not the final destination, but maybe a transit destination. For Croatia and in some small minority also for Italy. So they come to Slovenia, but their final destination will be Croatia or Italy.
And what about glamping tourism in Slovenia? How many glamping sites do you have and what kind of tourists go there?
Like you mentioned, yes, Slovenia is one of the destinations that has a lot of focus on glamping sites. So also the government provides specific fundings for individual campsites to diverse their infrastructure, also to glamping, especially wooden huts or wooden tents would be considered something that is very sustainable, and we encourage each individual company to provide also glamping sites. We have more than 60 glamping sites usually they're inside of the bigger camping sites, but also in the last 5 years we had also some small glamping sites popping up in the whole of Slovenia. So a lot of them near the thermal springs, but also in the Alpine area or the Mediterranean. Usually they attract visitors with a little bit that are prepared to pay a little bit more for their staying, because they offer more luxurious camping places and spots, and that's why usually, let's say, people from the German or the Austrian market are the ones that want to stay in glamping sites in Slovenia.
How did COVID-19 pandemic affected camping tourism in Slovenia?
Yes, it's changed quite a lot, like all over Europe and all over the world. But the Slovenian government gave vouchers to the people of Slovenia so that they could do tourism inside the country. This helped also the campsites a lot. So we had an influx of domestic tourists coming to Slovenian campsites. So in percentage, of course, it was the season was lower. Also, the income from the campsites was lower than in 2019. But at the same time, it still stayed at about 50 to 60% in some campsites, even more, because of these vouchers that the government gave to Slovenes. It was about 200 euros per person to spend in campsites, but also in other accommodation facilities. And a lot of Slovenes, they also love camping, and usually they spend it in camping or glamping grounds in Slovenia.
Do Slovenians like and go to camping? And what is the share of domestic tourists in the campsites comparing with foreigners?
Yeah, I will give you an estimated overview of 2019, because this
before pandemic, yes.
Yeah, before the pandemic. So about 20 to 25% of overnight stays in Slovenian campsites were made by domestic tourist visitors. So that is, I think, quite a high percentage, according to if we look at other accommodation facilities like hotels or, for example, private lenders of rooms. Because Slovenians are a camping nation, they really love nature, they really love outdoors. And we also see the trend for Slovenia. For example, a lot of people, so they camp in Slovenia, but they camp also in other places, especially the neighboring markets. For example, in Croatia, a little bit less also in Italy and Austria. I would also emphasize here that the motorhome industry is really developed in Slovenia. We have some of the world's top motorhome companies based in Slovenia. So I think this is also very attractive to Slovenes, and they indirectly promote camping and outdoors tourism in Slovenia in that way.
Is off-camping or wild camping allowed in Slovenia?
This is forbidden in Slovenia. So if you come with a motorhome or with camping gear, you have to stay in a designated area, so a campsite or a motorhome rest stop. Otherwise, you could get a fine. This is also the thing that Slovenia, almost 40% of Slovenia is dedicated as natural reserve spots, and that is why we decided at the government level so that off-site camping is not allowed. But we offer like motorhome rest stops, so every 10 to 15 kilometers you will find one. Mostly they are for free, and people that don't have a designated camping area before they come to Slovenia, they can spend one night there totally for free. And then of course they will look for something else. If they want to stay more nights, they will then have to go into a proper campsite.